That one bullshit PlayStation trophy. Vanquish on PS3 was a third-person shooter in which you play as a guy called Sam in a sort of advanced armoured suit which allows him to slide around on the floor on his ass at high speeds and easily vanquish his enemies. You will have a blast going through this campaign, shooting everything in sight and sliding around looking all cool as shit as you do it, while being careful not to overheat this powerful suit, of course. The campaign is quite short, to be fair, so it won't take you too long to complete it, but that shortness is oh so sweet, and by the time you do finish the campaign, you're probably in love with this awesome shooter, and at this point, from your fun experience with the game so far, you'll want to go for this platinum. However, while 95% of the trophies in Vanquish are pretty cool and fun to get, with them also being fairly easy to obtain, that is, of course, until you get to the game's challenge levels, which pit you against wave of enemies, with each wave increasing the enemy amounts and difficulty, and it's here where things escalate rather quickly, and where Vanquish goes from being a easy 4 out of 10 difficulty to a 10 out of 10 difficulty to unlock the platinum, purely because of a single trophy, a trophy related to these challenges, a trophy that has haunted me forever, a trophy that is the hardest trophy that I've ever unlocked, and that is Tactical Challenger. So, when people look at my PSN trophy list and see that I have over 250 platinums, their first question is usually, yeah, but you've got the Hannah Montana platinum. However, after that one, it's usually followed up with, well, what was the hardest platinum you've ever gotten? And, to be honest, my answer is always the same. It's Vanquish on PS3, mainly because of this gold trophy, Tactical Challenger, which is hands down the hardest trophy I've ever unlocked in a video game, period. This trophy completely broke me as a player, and I had to push myself and my gaming skills further than they had ever been tested before. This was a literal blood, sweat and tears challenge to unlock that damn trophy. So what makes this so hard if the rest of the game is easy, I hear you say? So the Tactical Challenge trophy requires you to beat all 6 of the challenges in the game. Now these are separate from the campaign and are sort of like a wave-based fight in a enclosed arena, where you have to survive multiple waves in order to beat the challenge itself. Now, granted, 6 challenges on the surface of it doesn't actually sound that bad, but once you start to play them, even the very first one, you'll soon realise that these are an altogether different beast when compared to the enemies that you were fighting in the main campaign. Even on the campaign's hardest difficulty, it is still nowhere near the brutality of the challenge mode, because here the enemies are just on fire. The slightest mistake, the slightest lack of concentration, and they will soon kill you outright. You have to be on the ball throughout the entirety of this challenge. For each challenge, for every single wave, you need to know exactly what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be facing, and what is actually going to be coming up once you've killed those ones. There is very little room for error in these, and you can't just go in all gung-ho and guns blazing, because you will soon get shot down and taken out. The challenges have a nice mixture of normal sort of grunt enemies, as well as a couple of the bigger boss enemies and the bigger sort of mid-tier enemies that you might encounter. And each wave introduces different sets of enemies. Littered throughout the environment, there are a couple of different weapon pickups that you can get, but you need to know when to use these. You can't just pick up the rocket launcher in the first wave to have an easy wave, because you'll then struggle in the later waves of that challenge and fuck yourself over. Likewise, sliding around, what was once a really fun thing to do in the campaign with not as much risk, is now a thing that you need to be aware of at all times, because if your suit overheats and you can no longer slide and you just got to roll to avoid enemies, you'll probably end up getting killed and failing the challenge. What makes these really hard as well is that the challenges are quite long. Now, sure, the pro players can do them in like 5 to 10 minutes. However, when you're doing it, you're probably in for a good 20-minute battle in each challenge. And knowing that a slightest mistake can fuck you up and you'll lose all progress is really nerve-wracking, and that really intensifies the actual challenge itself, because you don't want to have to repeat that long session just to get back to that section of the challenge where you failed. And like I said, there's multiple waves, and the game doesn't save your progress here. You know, you have to do this all in one go. So you might end up getting right to the end and failing on, like, say, the boss, and then you have to restart from the very beginning. It's absolutely brutal. And these challenges themselves are really tough. Just to actually get to challenge 6 in itself is a nightmare. Once you do manage to limp over the finish line and actually get to challenge 6, you might think you're actually going to be able to do this. However, you haven't seen nothing yet. You are going to rage at this challenge, as you need to prepare yourself for the fact that you are going to fucking die over and 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 over again. Because this challenge is unlike any of the others. It's unlike anything else in this entire game. It is balls to the wall for the entirety of it. Make a simple mistake and you will fucking fail. This is no holds barred. This is no mercy from the game. It will fucking push you. It will fucking break you. It will test you. It will make you cry. It will make you get angry. It will make your hands shake. You are in for a fucking mission to complete this, and be prepared to see that mission fail screen over and over and over again. Just making it through the first 20 seconds of this challenge is a challenge in itself, never mind all the other waves of the challenge, as you need to know exactly what you're doing, what you are up against, how best to kill them, and what is going to be coming up at every point in the game. You need to be aware of your suit's charge, the guns you have and the ammo you have left in them, while also knowing where the other guns in the arena are, and the best cover spots, making sure not to break them like the statue in the centre too early, because you'll need them for later when the bigger enemies are shooting at you. You need to know all of this and be able to adjust and react on the fly, especially if things don't go to plan. One wrong move and it's game over. You really are on the knife's edge throughout the entirety of this 6th challenge. As I've said before, one wrong move and you are fucked. You know, if you slide too much, you might overheat, and then you're vulnerable to an attack. If you stay in one area for too long, you will get surrounded. If you don't deal with the little ball enemies straight away on a certain wave, you will get outnumbered. You need to know which weapon to use to get them. You need to be able to move into a position and be ready to attack as they spawn in with the correct weapon, so you can just take out a big group to prevent them from shooting at you, while also remembering to avoid the bigger enemies in the map that are also going to be gunning for you. It's a fucking nightmare. So how do you do it? And why is it bullshit? Well, I think you can clearly see why it's bullshit. Purely because how hard it is compared to the rest of the game. And also because just how brutal and unforgiving these challenges are. I mean, this is a massive step up. And to be honest, when judged against the rest of the game's trophy list, Tactical Challenger is totally bullshit, as it's such a big difficulty spike compared to the rest of the game. Like I said, it's a brutal, no-nonsense task, and doing all 6 is a right pain in the arse. Everything is stacked against you, and only the best will get to unlock this. It's just, from a trophy list point of view, it's a really unbalanced one, as this trophy is just miles ahead of all the others in terms of difficulty. So it's a massive curveball in an otherwise easy list, and it really catches a few people off guard at just how brutal it is. But isn't that the point of trophies anyway? To test your skills and to be hard and to make you feel, not to quote EA here, but a sense of pride and accomplishment once you unlock them? Maybe. I mean, to award those elite players who do manage to do it while other people thought it was impossible? Maybe. Maybe not. Sometimes taking part or doing it on the second highest difficulty is enough. Regardless of your stance on this trophy, there's one thing I know for certain. It's that unlocking Tactical Challenger gave me such an exhilarating feel when I finally got it that no other trophy in any game since or before has had that sort of impact on me. I was trying this for a good 7 or 8 days solid, doing multiple hours each day, playing it over and over and over again, failing each time, but every time, or maybe every other time, I would maybe gain an inch or two on the challenge. I would probably feel more comfortable in the beginning wave to not have to use as much ammo or as much health risk. I would maybe use less grenades and slowly be able to do better in the later challenges. I would slowly inch my way towards that final wave, bit by bit. Then of course have setbacks where I still get my ass kicked and I wonder where it's all gone wrong and I start to think I can never do this. But I pushed on. I kept going for it. Because even though it is bullshit and it's really hard, there's just something about this trophy, there's something about this challenge that it's just like, yeah, I'll have one more go, I'll try and do it better. I could have done this section better, maybe it was me, if I'd done this bit better, I could have done it. And that's probably one of the great things about it. Like, even though it's really hard, and it does feel bullshit, it never feels like it's unfair. It's just brutally hard, but I never felt like it was really super cheap. I mean, the bogeys at the end, they are annoying, but if you've played the campaign, you'll know what they're going to do and you'll know how to handle it. It's just it turns it up. Their aggression gets turned up, and it's just something that you need to keep trying, you need to keep going at it. Don't give up, keep going for it, because when I finally got this, when I finally got to that final wave and I could see that one of the bogeys was dead and I was about to finish off the other one, I was shaking, I was so intense, I was shouting to myself, come on, I could do it, you've got this, you're gonna fucking die, bogey. And when I finally beat him and that trophy unlocked, wow, I actually cried. I cried with laughter, joy and tears of relief when I finally got this trophy. Relief that it was finally over, that I actually did it, and that I would never have to do this again. I fought the Vanquish war, and unlike Chewbacca, I actually got my reward in the form of a trophy. And then I eventually went on and got the platinum after getting all the other trophies. But this was hands down, and still is, the hardest thing I've ever done in a video game. It is absolutely brutal. And now, in 2020, there is a remastered version of Vanquish out real soon. And personally, I'm probably not going to go anywhere near it. I just can't. I can't bring myself to have to do Challenge 6 again. I mean, in the 100 or so attempts that I did, I only ever did it once after all. And even then I feel like the game may have just let me win after watching me fail so many times. It's just something that, in this day and age of my life, it's not something I want to put myself through, failing over and over again. But it's something that I did in the original, and it's always something that's going to stick with me, that this was the hardest thing I've ever done in a video game. This was my greatest trophy achievement. So even though I've got things like Hannah Montana on my trophy list, I've still got an awesomely hard game like Vanquish on my list that makes me feel like, yeah, that's a badge of honour. Because this trophy really is. And for anyone else who's got this platinum, it currently stands at 0.8%. And after, being out in 2011, over 10 years, that is a massively rare trophy that should be higher now, because there's loads of YouTube videos out there that show you how to beat it easier. But it just shows, it's a testament to how tough and how skilled you need to be able to beat these challenges. And sure, there is probably a little bit of luck where if you're overheating and you're rolling, desperately trying to avoid things, that the enemies don't happen to shoot you at that point. But this, for once, is a trophy that is more skill-based than actual, you know, RNG, random luck-based trophies. And I love it. You know, I hated most of my time trying to get this, but when I got it, oh boy, it felt amazing. And like I said earlier, no other trophies ever made me feel like, you know, I actually accomplished something there. And I remember when I was going for this, I was living in a flat with my girlfriend at the time, and you know, she'd watched me play this throughout the week, and at the beginning she was interested. She was like, oh, how are you getting on? But then after hours and hours of failures and me getting really moody, and she was just bored of it, you know, she didn't realise, you know, what it was. And then when I got it and I turned and I had those tears in my eyes, she was like, what is wrong with you? It's just a game. She didn't get it. She didn't know, like, what I'd had to go through to get that trophy, you know. Even though she was there in the room, she didn't play it. She didn't know how tough that was, how on the ball you have to be throughout the whole of that challenge. You know, it was just so intense. You know, I had to slowly build up my progress for each wave, trying to figure it out. I had to play it over and over again, getting really frustrated with it, having days where I had to just stop playing it because I got so angry, you know. I didn't break any pads either, which I was quite surprised at. But I had to walk away from it at times. And then there was times where I was thinking, oh, I wouldn't be able to get it. And, you know, I would go on PlayStationTrophies.org and I'd be looking at forum posts of other people who have played it and who are trying to get through it. And, you know, we were all sort of clubbing together. We were posting our comments on, you know, I found out this works best in this way. If you use this at that point, you stand here and do this and then go and do this. You know, and it was like a collaborative effort. We were all sort of going through the same hell at the same time. It was nice to have that sort of camaraderie with people who I never met. I don't know who they were, but we were just posting on this forum and we were all just helping each other, you know. And eventually YouTube had loads of videos of how people did it, but by that point I sort of done it. And my biggest regret is that I was never capturing any footage from this point on the PS3, because I would love to watch my run again and see it. You know, especially with like a camera looking at me and just seeing how intense I was and how happy I was when I got it. And maybe that's why I should do the remastered version, because I can capture it, but I just don't think I've got the patience for this time round. But yeah, Tactical Challenger on Vanquish is a massively difficult trophy that can feel like it's bullshit, especially as the odds are just stacked so much against you, and the fact that you've got to do 6 whole challenges and each one is fucking hard. I think 2 was tough, 6 of course is on another level, but all of them have their own problems and they are really tough. You've got to be just really focused, really dedicated to just keep playing even though you're not having much success, because eventually you will get it. Yeah, this is a really tough challenge, and yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. And that's why the Tactical Challenger trophy on Vanquish gets a bullshit trophy rating of...
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Bullshit. You said so. It's all bullshit.